We're back with another Loupe Market Report powered by SlabStox. My name is Aaron, one of your hosts, and we've got basketball, we've got football, we've got baseball, and we've got soccer card reports today. So sit back, stay tuned, enjoy today's show, and we will see you in the video. To start today's show, I really briefly want to talk about the card show scene going on around the country in July. Now, there are a lot of card shows going on in July. I believe that there's a Boston show, there is an Atlanta show, and Dallas show on the same weekend. There's an Iowa show, and there's probably a ton of other shows as well. And all those are happening leading up to the National. And the reason why I bring this up is because if you're someone who isn't able to travel to these shows, while they're amazing, I really implore you to look into going to the National in Chicago. The dates are July 28th to August 1st. I will say, if you're looking to get deals on eBay, on these different online platforms, on auctions, the best time I'd say for you to be looking to buy will be between the middle of July to end of July with the National, because a lot of people are going to be saving money not only to travel to these shows to buy food and hotels and all this other stuff, but also to buy cards at the shows. And as that happens, people aren't going to be buying on eBay as much over these next 3, 4, 5 weeks. And as that happens, prices will probably drop a bit, and especially the high supply cards, not necessarily the rare stuff that people are always looking for. And if that card pops up, there's going to be a bidding war for it. But just keep in mind, if you are going to buy some cards online over these next 5 weeks, today might not be the best option. And I really heavily implore you, if you are not able to make it to the National, I really want you to come. But if you aren't able to, maybe take a look at some eBay auctions and just go time ending soonest auction. Look for those sets, look for those players that you want to get, because there might not be a better time to buy all of 2020 and 2021 other than those few weeks leading up to the National. So that's all I've got for the intro of this video. We'll keep it short, we'll keep it sweet, and now let's get on to the basketball report from Sam.
Sam here with your weekly basketball card market update. We are in the conference finals portion of the NBA season. It's just about the most exciting time of the year for NBA fans. But today, we aren't talking about anyone from those 4 teams. That's because for the other 26 NBA franchises, we're in one of the other really exciting portions of the season, which is the NBA offseason. With the offseason comes rumors, trade demands, speculation, free agency, and the draft. With so many opportunities for league-wide power shifts and team improvement, fans will be sure to pay attention, and the card market will likely be affected along the way. One prominent name who's found himself in the trade rumors lately is Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers. There's nothing I could tell you about him that you don't already know. He's obviously one of the most exciting offensive players in recent memory. He's often left without much help on the court, and yet he and the Trailblazers always find themselves in the thick of contention come the playoffs. He's a dynamic 3-level scorer, and really maybe one of the few players that could be labeled as a true 4-level scorer, since so many of his attempts come from 30-plus feet out, where he is still rather efficient. With a level of grit that won't shy away from any opponent and a knack for incredible highlight game-changing plays, Damian Lillard has several more years of prominence ensured in the collective mindset of the NBA faithful. That will especially be true if he is traded this offseason. While the Blazers have always been able to contend with him and have never so much as even entertained trade offers, that appears like it could be coming to an end this offseason. Reportedly, Dame is growing frustrated and has begun communicating with players from other teams. Now, obviously, that is incredibly painful and frustrating for any Portland fans, and I don't wish that on anyone. If he is indeed traded, though, look for his rookie cards to see a marked increase in demand when any trade materializes. If it happens, it will likely to be to a contender or a bigger market, either of which should have a very positive effect on his overall card marketplace. Looking over at his 2012 Prism Base PSA 10 rookie card market from over the past 3 months, we've seen just over a 57% drop within that time. Some of that's due to the overall market dynamics, some of that's due to his offseason having already begun. But once the rumors start to pick up, and if he ends up being traded, this particular card should come back in a big way based on new demand and increased expectations. All right, let's send it over to Nate for our football update.
Welcome, everyone, to the Loupe Football Market Report. I am Nate, and today we are going to be talking about Lamar Jackson and his Prism Base PSA 10. Now, Lamar Jackson, a lot of people who have been following along with football for a while know who Lamar Jackson is, MVP a couple years ago. Had a little bit of a down year. Rushing yards down, passing touchdowns down, passing interceptions, or just interceptions, up. And so people soured a little bit on Lamar Jackson. I don't know how many people actually believe in him. Some people think probably his MVP is a little bit of a spoof, right? But I'm here to tell you that Lamar Jackson, super interesting to me. And also this Prism base card. Yes, I know, a base card, interesting to me, even in this market. So for starters, Lamar had a rough year last year with pressures. He was pressured 22.5% of the time on his dropbacks. That was up almost 6% of the time from the previous year. That's a lot to handle. Now, Marshall Yanda retired before the start of the season, and Ronnie Stanley got injured. So they had to move Orlando Brown from right tackle to left tackle, and they're missing two of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. They lose them for the season in Yanda and Stanley. And so Brown has to move over. He's really good. He takes the place, so it's not that huge of a deal, but their right tackle then is downgraded from there. So what did they do? They traded Orlando Brown away because he didn't want to play right tackle. He wanted to play left tackle, but Stanley is coming back. So Stanley's there, no drop in left tackle. They signed Alejandro Villanueva. They signed Michael Schofield. They signed Jawan Jameson. And they signed, and they drafted Ben Cleveland. Actually, they signed one more guy. Let me look at my notes. And they signed Kevin Ziegler from the Giants to play guard. So they really upgraded their offensive line in a big, big way. Hopefully that makes the pressures on Lamar Jackson go down, and that will give him more time to make decisions out there, whether it's running or passing. Better decisions come from less pressure. And so I expect him, with a revamped offensive line and Michael Bateman, their number one pick, to be, to accelerate his growth here in season 4. And therefore, that's why I find his cards interesting, is that they dipped. You'll remember that this PSA 10 was around like $2,000 at one point. And now you can see, we're looking at a 6-month timeline here, is that in January, around the time the playoffs was happening, it dipped all the way to $685. And then it slowly rose, all the way up past $900 in April. And then it has slowly been dipping, and the last sale was on June 24th for $769. So, this card is interesting for a number of reasons. Number one, it is dropping, and Prism Base is dropping. The reason I think this card is interesting, not only because Lamar Jackson, and I think with a better offensive line, he'll have a better season, but because this PSA 10, this base PSA 10 specifically, has a 13% PSA 10 gem rate. Out of the 4,500 cards that have gemmed, only 450 have PSA 10. Or out of the 4,500 that have been graded, only 450 have PSA 10. That's a minuscule rate. This isn't your Ronald Acuna 16,000 PSA 10s. This is 450. So if there was ever a base card that I think could withstand the pressures of other base cards dropping, it is specifically this Lamar Jackson Prism base PSA 10, because there are only, and I believe it is 451 out there. 451 out of all of the cards graded for this card, 451. That is minuscule in today's base world. And so I think we have an interesting card where it's 760, but if he plays well, people are going to, despite it being a base, people are going to pay attention to the pop reports and really be interested in this card, and you can get it for a relatively cheap price right now. Now, that being said, if base keeps dropping, they might not care about the pop report here. But if you are paying attention, a 13% gem rate, it screams by to me. Revamped offensive line, wide receiver in the first round. I'm expecting big things from Lamar Jackson this year, and I cannot wait to watch him play. That is all I have for football market report today. Now on to baseball. For our baseball market report, we are going to be talking about Jason Dominguez Bowman Chrome Mojo PSA 10, or Mega Box PSA 10, if that's how you like to describe it. We're going to be talking about this card, one, because I love Mojos, and two, because Jason Dominguez just made his Major League debut. Made his Florida Developmental League debut, or whatever, Florida Complex League debut today, stateside debut, and he had 2 at-bats. He struck out. He popped out. Not a great debut by any means, but he is playing stateside, and that is what we've all been waiting for. You can see from this trend, it was trending upwards, trending upwards, trending upwards. We got to spring training time. People were super excited. We're paying upwards of $518 for this Mojo PSA 10, which is absurd. An absurd amount of money for a guy that has not played stateside. It was all off of hype. Yankees hype, the Martian hype, any hype that he could possibly get behind him, being like a full-grown man at the age of 16. Unbelievable. He looks like a linebacker out there. But it was all hype. We didn't know what he could do. We did not know what he could do on a major league or on a baseball field. And so these prices got astronomically high. And then as people found out that he was not going to be playing on a team at the start of the season and instead going to be in extended spring training, prices started dropping. People were disappointed. And then we got all the way down to $248.50 on June 20th, which as of this recording was only 8 days ago. That was the low in the last 3 months, was $248.50. And then news came out that he was going to be playing in the Florida Complex League. And here we go. Prices rising all the way up to the last sale that we have on here right now of June 26th at $308. Now, I'm very curious to see what happens to this card because $308 to me is absurd. $500 was insane. $308 is absurd. We still don't know what Jason Dominguez can do. I get the hype. He was nicknamed the Martian. He is freakishly huge. He is freakishly strong, freakishly fast, and he plays for the Yankees. The hype is all there. He comes out and hits 2 home runs in one of these games coming up, and prices are going to soar. But that being said, there is so much risk in a guy like this. There are so many guys that you can get for way cheaper. Loupe Marte is hitting really well, and you could probably get an Aqua. I sold an Aqua the other week for $160, $170. You can get a numbered card, 125, not a PSA 10, but numbered 125 of Loupe Marte, who looks like he's going to be a top 10 prospect one day. You could get 2 for the price of one of these Jason Dominguez's. I just cannot believe that anybody would spend this type of money on this guy. I get the hype and everything, but there's so many other guys that are way safer, way safer in this market than Jason Dominguez. Do yourself a favor. Look for those guys. If you have a ton of money to blow, maybe buy a Jason Dominguez or 2, but know that we don't know what he can do, and these prices could soar, but they could easily plummet a ton because we know nothing about him. So Jason Dominguez, one of the most risky guys in the minor leagues right now, but he is finally playing. I'm curious to see where his career goes from here. I don't have any of his cards, and if I did, I'd probably be selling at these prices. That's all I have for baseball today. On to Aaron for the Soccer Market Report.
Thanks, Nate, for covering the football and the basketball here at the Loupe Market Report. My name is Aaron here with your soccer report. Let's look at the Kylian Mbappe 2018 Donruss. This is the gold press proof numbered out of 75 PSA 9 in his PSG kit. So this card just sold for an all-time high in a PSA 9 grade at $355 on Monday. That is a massive rise of 230%, but that's from the previous sale of over a year ago. Now, the thing about this card is that Mbappe just missed the penalty kick to win for France, or at least to keep them going in the PKs against Switzerland in the Euro. And France was a heavy favorite to make the finals and to even win the tournament. So this was a massive loss to Switzerland, a massive upset, the biggest of the tournament. I would definitely say that was even possible. The biggest possibility of an upset was this. And, of course, Mbappe is the guy that misses the goal to keep the PKs going and then lost the game. So, not great. However, keep in mind, one moment like this does not define a career, does not define a prospect, does not define a player. And going forward, I still see great things in the future. I think a lot of people still see great things in the future. But what it might help is a small short-term dip to where you can jump into some of his cards. So while this Donruss card probably won't show up, this gold out of 75 beautiful card looks really good in person. PSA 9, there are plenty of other Mbappe cards y'all can look for. But this particular set also has a ton of other rookie cards to target, namely Jadon Sancho, Kai Havertz, Vinicius Jr., Alphonso Davies, Phil Foden, Chiesa for Italy. And he had it's a marvelous goal in his game on Saturday. That was ridiculous. The touchdown, shot it in, just Unbelievable. But the point here is that 2018 Donner set, worth a look. Kylian Mbappe, worth a watch to see how his market reacts to this very disappointing penalty kick to send them through to the round of 8. That's all I got to say for the Soccer Card Market Report. Just remember, 2018 Donruss loaded set. Kylian Mbappe, watch his market, see if it dips, see if you want to buy. Thank you all for watching this week's Loupe Market Report powered by SlabStox. We covered Damian Lillard, Jason Dominguez, Lamar Jackson, and Kylian Mbappe. We hope you all enjoyed, and we will see you all next week.